Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Welcome
Let's
back,
go.
traders. How are we doing
I wake up to a
today?
little bit
We're
of
coming
drool
at
on
you
my pillow, feel
live
like
with
it's
some
gonna be a
passion,
bad
going
day.
over IWM, AMC, and GameStop, looking to see if our thesis is still intact and what is the bearish and the bullish scenarios in the market right now, because there are both at an inflection point. And it's going to be very important that you guys stay the full length of the video, see both scenarios, take what you can for your own due diligence, and without pretty much saying anything, right? Not financial advice. Do not count me as a financial advisor, but do please subscribe, like, smash the notification bell if you can. Thank you to all the Neo investors, right? This is blowing up. I'm very grateful. Even though the stock's going down, I realize that it sucks. But IWM seeing a green day so far, up 0.84% off of this gap fill that you completed yesterday. And this is really where the inflection point is going to lie, because if you reject at these levels, traders, if you see this candle turn into a red shooting star, it's likely that you come all the way down and either retest this trend line, retest the previous all-time high as flat resistance for a triple bottom, or traders, if you break that 271 support line, it's likely you come all the way back down and fill the gap, currently sitting at 253. If that happens, right, you should be prepared for it. Do your own due diligence and your own investing. But this is kind of the thesis that we've had on this stock, that you're going to hit 300 at some point here on IWM. This positively aids and backs GameStop, AMC, and Neo stock, all as risk-on assets. This basket is the risk-on asset basket. It helps contribute positively and negatively to these stocks' inflows. And when you look at the setup here, you can see kind of a shoulder, head, right shoulder. However, there is the opportunity here, as we all know, right? There was many points in which people thought that this would take a breather, but it did not. So you've seen a little chop here. It's possible that you just keep going here. And if you break this previous high, traders, bearish scenario out of the picture. So that's why you being at 284 right now is pretty significant, because if you're able to break the top here, currently sitting at 287, that scenario is out of the picture. And that's the most beautiful scenario in which you see this thing continue into $300. Although you would probably create a third touch of bearish divergence and then see a more extended drawback. So there's pros and cons to everything, right? This run up has definitely been one for the record books, but it's been a little unhealthy in the fact that you've already seen one touch of bearish divergence, right? You made a higher high here, but a lower low. It's possible that this thing just keeps going, but it would be doing you guys a disservice if I did not cover both the bullish and the bearish scenarios in the markets playing out right now. And that's just what we're trying to do here, right? I want to be transparent. I want to be honest with you guys. But right now, today, the stock looks good. You're about to cross the RSI band, which should lead to greater buying pressure and hopefully more volume here coming into the index to lead you up to these price targets. If we cross this daily RSI band, guys, in my opinion, I do believe you're going to make another all-time high, which would be positive for stocks like AMC, GameStop, right? These small cap stocks are going to perform if IWM is through the freaking roof. However, I wanted to cover fear and greed index, right? So your market sentiment, often coined by Warren Buffett: buy when you are in fear and sell when the market is greedy. Well, you're currently in greed in the stock market, as you see a lot of these index funds really coming up here to create bearish divergence. So that would, for my sake, just say do your own due diligence. Right? I'm not going to tell you when to sell or buy, but that is what it is. Crypto currently sitting in fear as it still has yet to catch up. Looking at the short term of AMC, guys, you're seeing a little bit of hesitation, right? As you bumped your head on this really stubborn resistance here, tapping you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So your fifth challenge of this downsloping resistance on IWM. Hopefully you can see volume come in here. As you've seen, you've been in an overall volume downtrend as you consolidate along here. So you could even call this a bullish triangle, as you have pretty flat top resistance and this newfound support, right? Wherever you want to draw this. Could draw it here, in which you would expect some kind of decision today. Now, the best case scenario by far for AMC, right, is you see this volume downtrend come to an end. You see those freaking boom, boom candles, baby, come through. And for you to break this channel and then test this previous horizontal resistance at 175, if you are able to do that, traders, going into a 3-day weekend, cook up your smokers, cook up the grill, right? And you're going to cook some freaking shorts. No doubt in my mind. But if you see this thing dump, it's likely you come all the way back down to fill the hourly gap, currently sitting at 138. Now, I don't want to see that. I would much rather see the other scenario play. But we should be prepared for any situation. Do your own due diligence, right? And prepare accordingly. Now, on the daily time frame for AMC, seeing a little bit of a poo-poo, candle. This shooting star candle is one of my least favorite candles in the market. We called it back here, and we showed you guys a textbook example of shooting star candles. This is oftentimes one of the strongest bearish reversal signals that you have in the market. If you show the exact same candle, let's say you close today, you break down from the bullish triangle, it's likely you come all the way back down. And then you continue to chop within this bull channel after this huge run up. So regardless of what happens, traders, I am still bullish on the trajectory of AMC. I think you're still on the way to paving profitability, paving higher highs, and hopefully extending this run higher, because that's what's going to ultimately lead to this thing getting what we want to see on the daily time frame. Does anyone remember what we want to see on the daily time frame? I'm looking at you, Kyle Jones. I want to see on AMC, if I could pull it up, I want to see on AMC a daily MACD cross. Now, not only do I want to see a daily MACD cross, I want to see a daily golden cross on this sucker. Because if this thing sees a daily golden cross, where are we at, Amy? Of course I type in Amy. If this thing sees a daily golden cross, traders, you are going to be the most bullish on this stock that you have been since 2021. And it would not be a coincidence, in my opinion, right? You're starting to see that tender loving daily golden cross like we were talking about, as you see this rally already up. I think it's like 25% now, about 26.7% rally so far. You're seeing the daily MACD cross green. Now that's a good development. You want to see this momentum push out of here and test 175. The test of 175 is going to be one of the most important tests if you want to get back above $2. Because once you do that, guys, you are going to test your 200-day EMA for the first time since all the way back here in May. Now look at how you reacted, right? You tested the 200 at $4 and you got annihilated. And that has just been the trend every single time, right? Tested the 200, annihilated. And you can predate that going all the way back to 2020. But where you are now is the best technical setup that you've had since testing the 200-day EMA, and it is the lowest the 200-day EMA has been. So now that you've regained the 50-day EMA as support and gotten your daily MACD cross, Kyle Jones, what comes next, right? You want to see this thing go crazy. You want to see it break out of this consolidation and regain or like re-enter this markup phase. Because if you see this consolidation come to an end, you run to $3, let's say, you are going to cause the greatest market shift in momentum on AMC that you've seen in the last 3 years. So AMC looks great, in my opinion. On the weekly time frame, we covered this in our last AMC video. You're seeing an increase week over week in volume, as well as a 21% week, guys. Like, come on, right? 21% weak, showing a bullish engulfing on the weekly time frame going into a 3-day weekend. So although I'd like to see you break out here, it's still a bullish macro look. So that's what we have to cover on the weekly for AMC. Now looking at the daily for AMC, you have, let's see, you have regained this 50 line on the RSI, and you have the opportunity to come back and retest or just keep going. I'm fine with either, right? We called out in the 4 hour, and we gave a little I told you so comment in the last video, but a little bit of a 4 hour falling wedge here that we had established. You've broken from that. You're showing beautiful, beautiful follow through off of that. On the weekly time frame, let's see, you're going back to test the 50 line on the weekly time frame for the RSI, which is overall bullish. It's just whether or not you can cross it. As I know in our last video, we showed you the technical resistance that always comes at the 50, guys. Look at these major rejections in the stock. Almost every single time, 50 line rejection, 50 line rejection, rejection. Most recent one, right? 53 rejection. This was right before the AMC ape conversion. 50 line, huge dump, right? And then it pretty much just pinpoints every single rejection off of the 50 line except for here, right? And what happened back here in 2021 was uniquely special because not only did you blast through the 50 line, you showed signs of bullish divergence. And this is what we're here to cover on this channel, guys. We're here to cover the buy signals, the sell signals, and also just the beautiful setups like this. Bullish divergence, blast through the 50 line, and you've held above it. As soon as you lost it, traders, that was really when the bear market for AMC began. Well, you're now at a unique potential opportunity here where you could blast through the 50 line and hold above it again, and you're right there. So how you do this on the weekly time frame is really going to predetermine whether or not this is the bottom, traders. But one thing is for sure, for me, just looking as an outsider on this community, you're beginning to get momentum again, right? People are coming into AMC again. The stock is looking nice. The setup is looking nice. The fundamentals can improve, but they are on the right trajectory. And when you look at this company now compared to where you were back here, night and day. So I like the stock at these levels. I think the setup is there. There is a potential resistance right around here for a much larger potential falling wedge that you're on the cusp of breaking. But let's say you reject this trend line. You could come back and make another lower low, right? Hear me out. Just this is the bearish scenario. We went over the bullish, but the bearish scenario is you reject this, make a lower low around 86 cents. That would be your bottom. And then on the weekly time frame, you make a touch of, let's say you come down to being oversold, but you're not quite the same. Touch of bullish divergence. Right? Let's say we just slide. Bullish div, just like 2020. And then you rocket ship out of this overall trend. That is exactly what happened here. Lower low, higher low. And so these are the kind of technical setups that create massive opportunity in the markets. So if you guys are liking the video so far, it would mean a lot. Just subscribe. Let's keep going. Keep chugging. Keep chugging. GME, guys, is showing a little bit of poopy action today as well. Really bad day, down 1.25% on the 4 hour. As we know, a little bit liquid, low volume sell off. However, you are seeing a more cup accumulative structure here on the 4 hour, showing a little bit of a cup and handle. So that would be your most promising scenario here, is if you see this cup and handy play out, and then you see the profit target being this weird neckline, break that, and then you're back at 24 bucks. So this is a very real scenario to get out of this consolidative wedge, or get back out of, right? Because you were out here, but get back out of this consolidative wedge that you've been in since January. So you want to break a 5-month consolidation, hopefully with news. Otherwise, it's likely that you just continue to chop down here, make maybe a double bottom or whatever it is. But if you can see volume step in here, you should see a nice healthy pull up. And on the weekly time frame for GameStop, you are actually printing a bullish reversal candle, which is bullish inverted hammer. So if you see this print, right, let's say we stop right here. It's likely to open up next week green, hopefully, coming off of this bounce of the downsloping support line. Volume on the week, probably one of the lowest volumes we've seen in a long time, right? Going all the way back to February, I would say. So even though you've seen a rejection of the 200-day EMA, even though this is an overall inside bar from the huge 11% candle down, this is the beginning of what could be a reversal here on the macro. So we're watching closely. We want to see volume pick up and fundamental news because this man, Ryan Cohen's a maniac, and I love him, every part of it. So I'm sure something will develop with eBay and GameStop's acquisition sometime soon. But that's the look on the weekly time frame. If you guys kind of get what I'm shooting here. It looks all right. You look like you could be channeling a reversal here. It is possible, though, that you make a deeper double bottom, right? High, midpoint, deeper double bottom. Fill this gap before going higher. I think that would be my most favorited scenario because then you could pick up shares dirt cheap at 21.25 along this trend line and then really ride this thing to the freaking moon. But that's just my own preference. You did see the death cross on GameStop develop, so we'll kind of cover where that becomes a factor. It's not yet because you haven't come up to test it, but typically you fail that first retest of a death cross. I can give you an example here, right? Death cross occurred, came all the way back up, tested it, and died. You then retest it later, died, and then finally you mustered the courage to blast through, retest, and then form this consolidation. So all in all to say, GameStop is really waiting for an answer particularly from Ryan Cohen and eBay. But jumping into, let's see, yada, 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 yada. AMC on the quarterly time frame. This is the most bullish scenario for AMC is that you see this quarterly MACD flip and you see the company make some kind of announcement, right? A lot of these big swings in momentum just so happen to happen when you see these big acquisitions, these big fundamental news drops. So I would not be surprised to see something bust free for AMC here very soon. As you saw this previous quarterly MACD flip come with a macro tailwind change, really. You saw a 400% quarterly candle paired with a 455% candle. But that is all depending on how you close this quarter. You could see this be a fake out and a lower low, like we mentioned in our previous statement. But overall, traders, I think it looks good. We kind of broke down the bearish and the bullish scenarios for IWM, AMC, and GameStop. So don't be surprised when you see either. Just be prepared, right? I think that's the best thing that I could say. I just want to give a shout out to Kyle Jones, Only in Paradise, all the people who love and support this channel. You guys are the best. God bless each and every single one of your families, guys. Make sure to punch the like button, subscribe if you like this passion and the energy. And remember, traders, the best is yet to come. Peace.